today's agenda is again learning LWC from scratch with reference to Aura. And this is what we had completed in the last session. So let me revise that. We had seen what all targets and functionalities we have in LWC as compared to Aura. We saw how to fetch data from Apex into LWC. How all these things are done in Aura. For that, I've already made a tutorial called Aura Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. So you can refer all these topics which are there on the left in those tutorials. The next thing that we had seen earlier in the earlier session was how do we hide or show a section in LWC? And same thing we had seen when we had covered the Aura tutorial. But one thing that I had missed last time was we can fetch uh, data from our Salesforce into Aura without hitting the Apex server. So how can we do that is we could use the force record data. But how to do that in LWC? So in LWC also this is possible and we can do it through UI record API. So how to do it? Let's quickly have a look. So let's start. So here I have already created a Lightning component. I have named it as fetch data LDS1. Now what I'm going to do in it is, first of all, let's create some fields that we are going to show in the template. So let me go to the HTML. So here is what we are going to show. I have made a lightning card in which I'm in our code that is done. Now, what else I need to do is I need to create fields over here. Okay. So in which I will be adding all the fields that I've imported. So let me create a constant variable called fields in which it is kind of an array in which I have put all the fields that I've imported: email field, parent field, primary field, and custom field. I have added all those fields. Okay. Now let's go inside. Now, first of all, I'm going to use the current records ID. So let me quickly create the record ID because this is something that we are going to use. Now, next thing is this is finally, I am going to wire get record. Now, what is get record? The one that I imported here from the standard Lightning module, UI record API. And then I have to pass two parameters into it. First, the record ID for which I want to get the record, and the second is fields. Now, this fields is the array that I've created over here, and it has all the fields that I've imported from here. Here, we will finally get the data of all the fields that we have demanded for. Now, here we have declared 4 values, right? Email, parent, is primary, and custom. Now, to store value in each one of them, I'd be using getter. Now, why do we use getter and what is the use of that? Let's say if I do get email in my JavaScript, get as in what I'm doing is I am getting the value, or I would say I'm setting the value over here. I'm getting the value from here and setting the value in my HTML. That is what I'm doing in my getter. So let me create quickly a getter for email. Now in that, what I'm going to do is I'm saying get email, and inside that I'm using return and then get field value. Now what is get field value? The one that we have imported from this module, the standard module. In that, we are putting two parameters. One is this record that we got, the data inside it. So I would say this dot record dot data, comma, the field which I am trying to insert over here in the email. So whatever I'll put over here would be visible over here. So in short, I'm setting the value of email, like whatever attribute that I have in the HTML, I am setting its value using the getter. That is how it works. Okay. So let me do the same thing for other fields. You see, I have parent and is primary as well. Now I need to be careful that if P is small over here, it will be small over here as well. Okay. So is primary, and then I name the custom field as custom over here. So I would also declare custom here. And inside that, I would say the same thing, except that now I have to use custom field over here. Let me just save, and I'm going to deploy this component. Okay, so I've deployed this component. Now let me quickly go to contact point email object. And I am going to add actually I'll go to the lightning record page, and I would directly add the component over here. Okay? So I'll go to edit. And let me add the component over here. Oh, wait, I forgot one thing. In the meta, I need to make it exposed true. And the other thing that I need to do is I need to make it available for the record page. Let me deploy it again. Okay, it is deployed now. Let us edit this. Okay, now we have the fetch data LDS one. Let me drag and drop over here. Save. Okay. Now let me put some value in the custom field as well. Let me put my name and let me save it. Let me refresh this page so that the new section that I've added gets visible. So what I had displayed is, I had displayed the email address. So you see email address is this one. I had displayed the address of the parent, which was the account. So you could see 001. It means that is the account ID. I had put the is primary. Here you could see it is false. And then I put the value in the custom field, which is Namrata Vora. So it is displayed over. So this is how we could get a record in LWC without having to do Apex, without having to call Apex server. Okay. Yeah. Now the next in our list is how to create or edit records. So first of all, to create record, we have Apex as an option. So from Aura, if you go on the Aura tutorial, you would see how we can insert a record using Apex by calling Apex from Aura. Similarly, if you want to create record using LWC, you need to call Apex. So that is one of the ways. So let's quickly see how do we do it. So let me go to my Visual Studio Code and let me show you that I've already created a component, LWC component called LWC underscore DML1, in which I've entered all the elements that we need, like expose equals to true and where all it needs to be used. Now let me quickly go to the HTML and let's start building this component. Okay. So first of all, what we need for this is we would need some input fields, right? We would need an input field to get the name, to get the phone, and to get the account number. These are the three fields that we work. So I'm using Lightning input here. Let me actually Google what all types of inputs we have. Okay, let me first take the text input. Account name. Or let me name the method as handle change. We'll use the name field because we are going to use that. I'll show you why later on. Let's see for phone if we have any input field. Okay. Label will make it phone. Name will keep phone. Value uh, I would keep it blank. Okay, and I don't want it to be read only. And the next is again account number. So I would use the same lightning input here, which is the text, and name it account number in the label. Okay, now we will add a button. And all this, let's put inside a lightning card. Okay. Now, what we are going to do next is, the moment we enter some value here, we want to put it inside the variable that we are ultimately going to pass into the Apex for doing the DML, right? So let me create some variables over here. First, I would create name, then I would create phone, and then I would create ACC number. Okay, these are the three variables that we. Now, we have mentioned there that if there is any change in the value, we are going to call handle change, right? So let us create a method called handle change, whose parameter would be event. And then what we are going to do is we are going to store the event.target.name. Now that is why, so here what I'm checking is this name field which is there in that lighting input will get fetched. So here the name field is name. Here the name is phone, and here the name is ACC number. So what I'm going to do here is, if the name that is fetched is equal to name, then in name field, I would put the event.target.value. Similarly, if the name field fetched is phone, then I'm going to put this value inside phone variable that we have declared. Similarly, if it is account number, I'll be putting the value in account number. So for all three, we'll have event.target.value. Now, once we have all these things, and once somebody comes and clicks on the button called handle click, I want to call the Apex method in which I have done the DML. So which is that Apex method wherein I've done the DML is, this is the this is the Apex class. Let me show you that class that I've made. Here is my class called Apex class. In that, I have a method called doDML. So let me go here, and this is the class name dot the method name doDML. Okay. Now, next what I'm going to do is, I would say, here if you go, on the click of the button, I'm calling handle click method. So let me create a handle click method over here. And here I would say do DML, right? Or I can say, or I would name it DML only, better. Okay. So let me use this do DML. And then I need to check what all are the parameter names. So here you see name, phone, and ACC number are the parameters, but I also need to note the case. N is capital, P is capital, A and N is capital. So name, phone, ACC number. These are the three parameters that we are passing over there. Now, in the name, I'm going to pass this dot name, the name variable that I have declared over here. In the phone, I'm going to pass this dot phone. And in account number, I'm going to pass this dot account number. This is about passing the parameter. Now, handle click is a method, and within that, I cannot call a wire method. So I can call it imperatively. So I've called it imperatively, and I'm saying dot then result. If you get the result, then I'm storing it in record ID, REC ID. So let me also create a variable here called rec ID. Now, if the insertion is successful, from there, as you could see, the return type is string, and I'm returning the ID of the account. So here I'll be getting that ID, and if I get it, I'm storing it over here. If not, I'll be getting an error, and I'll be storing the error over here. So that is it. Let me quickly deploy this. Okay. So it is deployed. Let me check the meta once. Okay, the meta is perfect. Now, in account record page, I'd already added that. So I'll just go to the account. And here you see, this is that component. Okay. Let me add some account name. Let me add a phone number. Okay. And let me add an account number. Now let's go to the developer console. Let me hit the save button. Okay. Okay, insert failed, I think. Let's see what's the error. Okay, we are not getting anything. How do I know that is? Because I've declared it over here. Let me find out what is the issue. Okay, so the issue here was that instead of writing on change, I had just written change. So that is why what was happening was that this method was never getting called, which is handle change. And that is why this dot name so handle change event was never getting called, and that is why this dot name, this dot phone, everything was undefined. So that is why we were getting that error. Now I have saved it and I have deployed it. Now let's go here quickly. And let us refresh this. Okay, now I'm going to put okay, and I'm entering the account number here. And let me save this. Okay, so I think it is saved, but let's see whether we got success or not. So yes, it is success now. Let's go to account and let's try finding this Namrata ACC. Okay, so we have it created over here. You see the phone number is also what I had given. And the account number is also what I had given. So this is how you insert a record using Apex. Now let's quickly see the other two methods which are using record form and record edit. Now I've created a Lightning record form component, and in this component what we are going to do is we will try to create an account record without using Apex by using LDS, which is Lightning record form. So let's quickly begin. Let's first copy the template. So let me go to the Lightning record form HTML and let's paste it. Now, when we are trying to create a record, we won't put the record ID. So I'm removing that. Object API name, I would say account. And in fields, I would add field. Now, this fields that I've written here is an array of all the field names. Now, this I surely need to make something. So what I'm going to do is on success also, let me remove it for now. Now, what next I'm going to do is, I'm going to import all the fields that I want to put inside this fields. So let me go to the JavaScript. I am importing 3 fields. One is name, one is phone, and one is ACC number. Let me put the standard API names over here. Name, phone, account, number. Okay, so these are the 3 fields that I'm using. Next thing is I need to add those fields inside the fields array. I need to add those fields inside the field array that we have made and used. Okay, so let me quickly add those over here. So this is what we do. And I think that is it that we need. Now, one more thing. In the earlier example, you saw that even when we saved the record, we were not able to find out, right, whether the record is saved or not, because we were not showing any toast event or anything such. So let us now, this time, try to create a toast event. Now, people who have worked in Aura might be knowing what is a toast event. It is like a pop-up that comes and shows you the success or error message after the record is created successfully or created unsuccessfully. For that, what we need to do is we need to import this show toast event from Lightning platform show toast event. And then what do we do is, first of all, we go here and from here we had removed on success, right? So what are we telling it? After the Lightning record form is successfully done, then call this method. Now, inside this method, I am going to fire my toast event. How do I make that event is? I would say const event name equal to new show toast event, whatever is there, and this that you are using is the standard name. You can't change that. You need to use the same thing. Now I'll do that. Title would say success. Message would say account created successfully. Variant is success. If we put variant as success, it would show green colored pop-up, and mode we'll keep it as dismissible. So we can cross it and close it, right? And what else is there would also be a parameter here called event. So we could use event.detail.id. Now what would happen with that is this record that got created, right? Its ID would be captured over here. So it would show us that ID over here. Now let's do one more thing over here. This time, let us not embed this in the record page. Rather, let's create a lightning quick action. So in the quick action, what we want to do is the moment this account record gets created, we want to close that quick action as well. So first of all, this event one that I've created for show toast, let me uh, dispatch that event. So I would say this dot dispatch event and event one. Other thing that I want to do is I want to close this model if I'm using it in quick action. And for that, I need to say this dot dispatch event and new close action screen event. Now, what is that? Again, that is something that I need to import from Lightning Action. So I see close action screen event. The same thing I've written over here. I've created an instance of that and I'm just dispatching the event. Okay, so we are completely done. Let's deploy the source to yeah, okay. Okay, now I'm going to account and I'm creating a quick action. I would say Lightning Web Component. And here I would say record form one, right? Let me check if we have added everything in the meta. Okay, we have. Let me figure out why we are getting this issue. Okay, I realized a big mistake that I was making. The component itself was not deployed and I was thinking, why am I not able to see that component? But the actual issue was that here when I'm trying to import, instead of account, I wrote contact point email. So how would it get this field from that object, right? There is no such field. So let me change it to account. Let us try deploying this again. Okay, now it is deployed. Now let us go and refresh. Okay, and now we'll use Lightning Web Component over here. Now we have Lightning Record Form 1. Create account, I would say. And in the page layout, I'm going to add this new button or the new quick action that we have created. Let me remove all the other that we don't want. Okay, what was the name? Create account. Okay, I'm not able to drag. Okay, I've added the create account button and I've not removed the rest of the actions, but anyhow. So I click on create account and our record form opens. This time we have not done any DML from the backend, not called any Apex. We are simply, all we are doing is we are using LDS. So I'd say Namrata ACC1. I'd put some phone number and some account number and let me save. So you see, this is a toast event and this is the ID that it returned, which is it is display. So this is how we created a record using Lightning record. This is that account that we created. So yeah, here you see. Now let us try to create a record or let's try to actually edit a record using Lightning record form. So all that I'm going to do is in this component itself, I would be passing record ID. So let me put record ID over here. And in order to get the record ID, we need to import API, right? API decorate. And I need to put @API record ID. And I'd save. Now, what would happen is, because I've passed the record ID, we would be able to edit that record. So all the fields that we have supplied over there would be pre-populated. So let me just refresh. I click on create account. This time you see all these fields are pre-populated. That is because I've edited the existing record. Now, if I change the phone number over here, it would go and update. So you keep an eye on this phone number and let me save it. So you see the phone number got updated. That is how you could edit a record using Lightning record form. Now, if we have record form, why to go for record edit form? Because record edit form also does the same thing. It could create a record or it could edit a record. But here you see, you could only specify the fields like this. You could specify an array of fields. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is, let's say you have this account name field, which is covering the entire length of the page. But let's say this phone and account number field, I want it to be side by side. I don't have that flexibility in Lightning record. Also, if I'm creating a new record, let's say if I had not passed the record ID, what I mean is this, I've removed the record ID. Now, so if I remove the record ID, you would see all the fields are blank. But let's say if I wanted to pre-populate a value in one of the fields, when I open the create record form also, that is also not possible in Lightning record form because you don't have individual fields here where you would inject the value, right? So that is not possible in the record. So all these limitations, if you want to overcome, we could use Lightning record edit. So let me quickly show you how to use the Lightning record edit. Okay, so what I told you is we have the flexibility to adjust the field in the layout as we want, and we could also pre-populate those fields, right? So how do we achieve that? So first of all, let's write a Lightning record edit form. Okay. Now in that, one is object API name. So let's say account. On load, what do I want to do? And on success, what do I want to do? Now, here, how do you get the flexibility to adjust the field on the layout is because unlike the Lightning record form where we were just providing the array of fields, here we specify each and every individual field. How do we do that? This is how we do it. Inside this closing, opening and closing tag, we would specify div. So, and within the div, I am specifying the input field. Now, the first field that I have, which is the name field, I'm saying I'm occupying 3 out of 3 sides, and field name would be, let's say, name field, and value is my value. Now, the next field that I have, I would call it phone field, and the third field that I have, I'll call it ACC number field. And value I'm putting as default value. Now here you see, in the first row, I'm specifying that occupy the entire size. So out of 3, I'm occupying entire 3. Now in the next row, I am putting only one SLDS grid. In that grid, I am partitioning it into 2 parts. One is this part, which is occupying 2 out of 3 size, and the rest 1 out of 3 size is occupied by the account number. Okay, and these name fields that you see here, field name, that I'm going to make in my JS file. Let's quickly see how and what do we do. And by the way, we also need to give a button over here. Not that we are going to implement anything, but we need to give a button whose variant is or type is submit. Okay, so I've added a button over here. Now, like I said, we need to import these fields. So let us do that. Let us import the 3 fields that we want. And let me go to the JS, and I am importing the 3 fields. Okay. The first one would be name field, phone field, ACC, number field. Now, over here, what I've done is I have used these names, right? ACC number field, ACC small, phone field, P is small, and name field, N is small. How do I enter the fields that we have imported into these fields that we have entered here? So what we need to do is I would come here and I would say name field equal to this, phone field equal to this, and ACC number field, I'm copying, pasting all these things. Name field that I have imported, I'll put here. Phone field that I have imported, I'll put in the phone field. And account number field that I have imported, I'll put in the account number field. So I'm done here. Now, I told you that we are able to adjust in the grid, like what width of the entire screen do I want by, I can mention that over here, right? This is 3 out of 3, this is 2 out of 3, and this is 1 out of 3. So these both share the same row. These both are in the two separate columns, and this one has the entire row to itself. Other thing that I told you is, if I want to inject some default value when I open a create form or a create record, it's not edit, right? Because I have not specified the record ID. So what do I do? So if you remember here, we have said on load equals to handle create load, right? So I can use that. And what I can do is I could create a method called handle create load. This you can name anything. I have named it as handle create load. So that is why I'm creating this method, and which would be called when I'm loading this lightning record edit. So let me declare this method. Let me define this method over here. Okay, so like you see here, I am going to pre-populate name field and account number field. So now for name field, the value that I put is in my value field. So here in my value, what I'm going to do is I'll put some value. Okay. And in default value also, which we have used for account number, let me put account number. Okay. The third thing that we are going to do is on success. On success, I'm going to call handle success, and in handle success, what I'm going to do is simply close the quick action and show the toast event. So here we have show toast event. I would say account created successfully, event.detail.id, just like we did in the previous example. Dispatch that event and dispatch this. Now for both of these, we need to import things, right? Like import show toast event from the platform show toast event and import close action screen event from the lightning action. So let me use these two and let us save this. Now let us deploy this. And mind it, it's not edit. We have not mentioned the record ID over here. Okay. Now what I've done is the create account quick action that we had created, right? Instead of using lightning record form, I use the new component that we created, record edit. So let me just empty cache and hard reload. Okay. Now I'm clicking on create account. Oh, this is weird. Okay, let me check. Again, I made the same mistake. I should use account and I've imported the wrong fields. That is because I'm copy pasting this to save some time in the video. I forgot to change these fields. Okay, deployed. Now you see we have account name, we have phone, and we have account number. But it's not pre-populated, so let me check what is going on. Okay, so the issue that I found out was I was using this dot my value equal to the values that I want to put, but I never declared those variables. So here I made those variables and then I'm putting this dot and that value name. inside the handle create node, which we are calling when the record edit form loads. Okay. So let me, no need to refresh because I've already refreshed. Now let's say if I click on create account, this is not editing. This is a new record that is getting created, but we have managed to pre-populate the field. This is one of the advantage that I told you. We can't do it in record form, but we could do it in the record edit form. The other advantage, like you see, account name is covering the full width of the first row, but phone and account number are sharing the same row. They both are in the different column. This is occupying two parts of the screen and this is occupying one part. So this is also controllable in record edit form, but that's not possible in the record. Now, again, if you want to edit it, all you need to do is just provide record ID equals record ID and save it. Let me just comment out this. Okay. And let's take the API. And let's get record ID. Okay. Now, let me empty cache and hard reload. If I click on create account here, this time, okay, there is some error which I cannot cover right now because then the video size would be too big. But anyhow, so when we edited it, it showed all the values of the current record. Let's say if I'm editing the account number and just saving it, it got saved. Let me check the account number of this record. So here you see it got updated. So that is how we edit a record. Okay. So that's it for today. We have covered how to fetch data without using Apex. We have covered how to create record using Apex. You could do the same thing if you want to edit record also using Apex. And we have seen how to create and edit record using record form and record edit form, and also what was the difference between both of them. We will continue with the next session for other things. And if this video helped, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.